Part 3. The Echo of the Burned Gods. The silence after the battle was so profound it seemed to swallow the very air. Lysian watched the horizon, stained gray, where heavy clouds gathered like a sky in mourning. There was no sense of victory. The enemy had retreated, but something essential had been torn from all who still breathed. The war was still there. Not in the weapons, but in the smoking ground, in the motionless bodies, in the weight that clung to the consciousness like dried mud. No one had emerged unscathed, and the world seemed to know it. When the dust began to settle, the wind changed. It brought no relief, but something strange, distant lament, almost human. At first, it seemed like just the echo of the ruins. But soon it took shape, intoning an ancient, sad, and sacred song. Lysian lifted his head. The survivors would not sing, not after what they had seen. That sound came from another place, perhaps from a forgotten time, perhaps from a world that still insisted on speaking. He walked among bodies and wreckage. Each step sank into mud mixed with dried blood. Metallic smell saturated the air. Breathing was a conscious effort. He stopped beside a fallen youth. The enemy was barely over 15. In his clenched hand, a simple locket, gripped as one clinging to the last memory of life. Lysian closed his eyes for a moment. "How many worlds must die before we learn?" he whispered. The sky answered with a distant thunderclap. Dry, weary, as if even the gods were tired of the same question. At night, the camp became a chorus of stifled moans. Wounded breathed with difficulty. Others prayed to gods who perhaps no longer listened. Lysian did not sleep. Something was calling him, not as an urgency, but as a destiny. He walked to the edge of a cliff. There, the wind howled like a wounded animal. The song that was once distant now became clear, almost intimate. From the darkness, a figure emerged. It was neither man nor woman. Its body seemed woven from shadows interlaced with fragments of golden light, as if divine hands had given up molding it completely. When it spoke, its voice was made of many voices. Lysian, child of chaos, heir to ruin. The time has come. He felt fear, but he did not retreat. Something inside him had always known this meeting was inevitable. "Time for what?" he asked. The entity tilted its head. It did not watch him with eyes, but with something deeper. Time to see what lies beyond the war, and to decide whether you will continue feeding it, or dare to break it. Lysian's chest tightened. "Why me?" The creature seemed to smile. Ancient smile, heavy with sadness, because you still listen. Most have grown deaf from the noise of their own weapons. Before he could answer, a finger made of shadowy light touched his forehead. The world dissolved. He saw burned fields as far as vision reached, cities being swallowed by storms of ash, children fighting shadows with bare hands while men in suits noted numbers from a distance. He saw dead gods, forgotten in abandoned temples, dissolving into golden dust, unable to intervene. Not for lack of power, but for abandonment. Then he saw himself, or what he would become. A man with empty eyes, walking over corpses, holding a sword as heavy as his guilt. A ghost clothed in flesh. Lysian tried to scream, but his voice was only a stifled echo. "This is the world you build when you close your eyes," said the entity within his mind. "We did not abandon humanity. It was humanity who gave up listening." He fell to his knees. "Why show me this?" "So that you may choose," the voice replied. "To continue being an instrument of destruction, or to become guardian of what can still be saved." The vision shattered like glass. Lysian awoke at dawn. The camp seemed the same. To the others, he had only slept a few hours. For him, an eternity had passed. Something had changed. They fought again weeks later, he realized. His strikes no longer sought to destroy. No, they sought to end, to incapacitate, to protect. This did not go unnoticed. Some called him a traitor. Others, a madman. Some said he had been touched by the gods, which, in that world, was synonymous with a curse. Lysian did not argue. He knew. The war, however, sensed his hesitation, and it reacted. The ambush was brutal. Surrounded in a narrow valley, arrows rained down, Explosions tore through the air. Screams echoed like a freshly awakened hell. He saw childhood friends fall. He saw the commander ripped apart. Saw the ground turn into living mud of flesh and roots. Then he understood. There was no way to win the war by fighting within it. It had to be broken from the inside. Lysian raised his bloodied sword and shouted, "Enough!" The world seemed to hold its breath. The entity appeared amidst the explosions. Light and shadow expanded like an eclipse. Soldiers, friends, and enemies alike froze in place. "He who listens summons the end," said the voice of all voices. The ground trembled. Weapons began to dissolve in the hands of men. Not into fire, but into light. Trenches collapsed not from destruction, but from refusal. The war hesitated. Lysian fell to his knees. "Is it over?" he asked. The entity hesitated. "Wars never truly end. But today, you broke the ritual. You said no." A warm light pierced his chest. Wounds closed, others invisible began to heal. "The rest," said the entity, "will fall to those who survive." And it vanished, without weapons, without flags, without purpose beyond breathing. The soldiers left the valley in silence. Some wept, others knelt. Some looked at Lysian as if he were a prophet. He did not want to be any of that. He wanted only peace. The sun broke through the gray clouds. It illuminated the ravaged field like a cruel and necessary reminder. Even among ruins, light insists. Lysian took a deep breath. The weight of the world was on his shoulders. And yet he chose to bear it, because now he knew. Even in a world that has forgotten the gods, there will always be someone willing to listen to what can still be saved. On that day, that someone was him. The end. Subscribe to the channel and receive more videos like this. Thank you for watching.